Okay, so yeah, I'm going to start off, because this is what I'm painting. This is a Flower Witch in Kingdom Death. This is what I'm doing. I've done before, but I'm going to give her away today. It's the top donor to giveaway here on stream. So this is just kind of an idea of what I'm looking at. The newer one, the ones I'm going to paint today, though, they have these leaves going down there and on the back. And I'm going to paint them in a different skin tone. So what I'm actually going to do is this one. I've already primed her a really dark gray, which is a Game Air Somber Gray from Vallejo. And I did that because I really wanted a really dark base to go with, but I didn't want it completely black. So this will give me a pretty good idea of what I'm doing. And then the skulls, she has two skulls in her hand. The bigger ones are actually part of the Games Workshop, what are they called? The Shattered Dominion bases. They actually come on these sprues here. And these bases I did a tutorial on too. That'll be up on YouTube soon once I edit it. But unrelated. And then the little skulls down here are actually from Green Stuff World. You get quite a few of them. Some are like halves, so you can put them on bases. Some are full skulls. Some have all their teeth. Some don't. It's a nice little assortment. And then I'm actually about to attach something else in a minute. I'm going to use these table art candles. I've already painted them. They're already done. I just need to put them on the base. But to do that, I'm going to have to finish up the base. So for the base, I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to try to sculpt. Not really sculpt, but just form my texture paste in the areas I want. So I'm going to go grab that. See if I have what I need. I don't think I do. I don't have what I need. That's okay. So, normally I would use Astrogranite. It is a Games Workshop technical paint. Or it's like a paste for texture. But I've got this old one. It's Lustran Undergrowth. And I'm going to use that just because it's the same texture. But I'll be able to paint this whatever color I want. It's not going to be green. So, one tool I really recommend everybody use is, you can't really see it, but it's a Citadel texture tool. I use this to get paint out of my pots and mix things, and it's a really sturdy, it's flexible, but it's actually really sturdy. I've used it for a long time. And of all the things Games Workshop makes for tools, this is one of my favorites. Definitely worth picking up. So I'm going to take a little bit out of this, and I'm just trying to add some texture. It doesn't have to be everywhere, and I actually want to not completely cover the base. The reason for that, I wanted to do some sort of blood effects, but I didn't want to do them the way I normally do as a like speckling. I wanted to do them as more of some rivulets, so some streams of blood coming out. So I'm going to try to sculpt this and leave some pathways. It's nice because the skulls are going to be white or an off-white. So if I can do a blood effect around each skull in some way, it'll be nice because it'll show off the color of the skull and it'll show off the color of the blood. So that's what I'm going to do. It doesn't have to be perfect, and you can see I'm already getting some texture on the skulls. That's okay. This one I can make submerged in the terrain. It's okay. Just keep getting it out of the pot. I normally don't show this stuff first, but for this tutorial I really wanted to. Because a lot of people don't think about terrain on their bases. They just do them. Or just add some flock and they call it done. For me, it really rounds out the miniature. Makes it look really nice. Like I said before though, this is not going to stay green. Alright, one thing that helps too is to turn it around and say, does it look the way I want it to from every angle? Now, the viewing angle for this one is going to be obviously the front, so probably going to want to do something else. Maybe like that. Kind of give myself a little stream here. So I was missing something here. That's the nice thing, is I'll be able to paint all the missing spots later. Well, that's what I might do actually, is completely cover it. I was going to do just certain areas, but I think I'll completely cover it this time. Just because the composition didn't match what was in my head. So this way it's an even coverage, and then I can choose later, once the green is painted over, what I want to do from there. So I'm actually going to, while I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm actually going to focus on the skulls, get them painted first. Skulls are actually really easy to do if you know what you're doing. The key is to start with a really dark brown and build up from there. Most skulls are not going to be a crisp white, they're going to be a little older. A white skull is really fresh, and that doesn't really happen with corpses. By the time it gets down to the skull, it's actually been eaten away, and it's got holes in it, and so this will be a really nice effect. Also, I totally forgot, I showed you guys those candles, and then I didn't do anything with them. So I have to do something like that. So it is actually a really nice green color. It needs a wash, but that's all I would do with that. Maybe a little bit of a highlight. The problem is with a nice dark forest green like this, if you do a highlight, it'll probably override the green. But since I'm not staying with that green, it doesn't really matter. I just used it as a texture. So now I'm going to take a really dark brown and I'm going to paint up the skulls. So I typically use a lot of these scale color paints, and I actually have the full set of these scale color paints. You can get it online. It's not too hard to find. It's a little pricey, but compared to most other paint sets, it's not bad. You get a full set of paints for a couple $100 usually. The only downside, and I'm encountering it right now, the only downside with the scale color paints is, especially when you get a brand new set, they have this separation material. And you can kind of see it here on the palette, where it's almost thin when I pour it out. That's because there's this chemical they pour into these so that they don't dry out while they're being stored. Problem with that is it separates to the top, so when you pour it out, it tends to mix with the paint, and then the paint doesn't quite thin properly. But for these, I actually put ball bearings in them. And the ball bearings are also from Green Stuff World, but you can get any regular stainless steel ball bearings. Some people use glass beads. A lot of different ways to shake your paints up. Try that again. There, that's much better. I may use that paint again. That's why I put a little bit more out than I needed to. Okay, now. Organize my paints over here. There we go. Alright, so I'm just going to take that brown, and I'm actually adding it on a little thick, which is fine, because I do want a nice coat. See, it's kind of a pale brown. You can go much darker than that and you'll still be fine, but for this I wanted it to be just this light brown, because I'll cover that mostly with bone here in a minute. Not too many skulls. Get those done, and then I've got to really think of what I want to do with the next layer of skin. I know basically where I'm going. She's going to be actually pretty bright, but I got to make sure that I don't completely get rid of these shadows. So if I can figure a nice mixture of light grays and maybe even a brighter white to build up to, it should give me a really nice consistency for a figure as dark as this. She won't stay that way. There we go. Make sure they get every angle. Now I'm going to do her Hamlet skulls here. Well, somebody's at the door. I will be right back. Alright, back to skulls. I don't know, the skulls turned out good to me. Especially the angles they're at. Should show up nicely. I'm also not too worried about painting over her fingers or anything right now. I'm trying not to, but not too worried about it because I will paint over that completely later. There we go. Pretty good. Alright. Now, since I'm waiting for this to dry, I'm kind of forced to go with painting the skin. So that's what I'm going to do. So I have to decide. I have this somber gray out here, which is nice. I left that out because then I have an idea of what I'm doing. And then, or where I start from. But I have probably going to be going up to this Arctic blue. It's like a darker gray. But I have 3 grays here: anthracite, graphite, and Arctic blue. And those should actually prove to be the right colors for me. Because I believe this anthracite gray is actually very close. So, however, what I might do is use this anthracite gray as a shadow color. And then, because it's slightly, you can see here, this one's slightly lighter. So we'll see how it looks when it's on the figure, but I may end up using the color I put on originally with the airbrush as my midtone, and then use this as a shadow, and then go from there. We'll see. But then again, this may be really bright, so. Nope, it ended up being a lot brighter, which is okay. That just means I need to mix a shadow color. Oh, there you see. It's slightly different. Which is totally okay, it just means I need to mix something else. So I'm going to put this down as my midtone. And then the other colors will be my highlights as I go along. You can also see I'm thinning this pretty well as I put it down, so I'm grabbing a little water, I'm kind of mixing some, making sure it's the right consistency as I go along. I don't want to go overboard. Alright. Even though a lot of the fronds are in the way, I still have to focus on the stuff I normally would for the muscles under here. Not as much as I would, but I still do. So it's just going to be a task. I could have glued this on, but I found that a lot of these fragile King of Death figures, when you try to glue stuff on after the fact, it doesn't quite do what you want it to do. And I don't want to have, especially since I use super glue, I don't want to have any of that ghosting from the super glue fumes, which has been known to happen and is never fun. So you can see in what I'm doing that the first layer, the airbrush layer, is actually the right color for a shadow. The downside is it's not as prevalent as I need it to be. So I have to mix that with a little, just a tad of black. So I'm actually going to put, it's a Game Cook Air color. So it's actually pretty thin, but I want to add a tad of black to that. So I'm going to kind of put that over here to the side. It's actually off camera, off the palette cam. But I'm just doing a little dab of that with a tiny bit of black. And to make sure that the black isn't overpowering, I'm going to put the black to the side of that and kind of add as I need it. until I get the consistency I want. So I'm just, you can see, with a small amount of black, this is the tip of my brush, that tiny bit of black. And I'm putting that next to it, rinsing my brush, and then I'll add that black in again. So, not nearly as much as I had. Nope, not quite what I wanted. Let's see. I may not be able to do that. We'll see. Alright, I've got another color I could try using. It's this Abyssal Blue. It's actually really dark. I may have to mix that with the color I already had. We'll find out. I actually need to switch back to my normal brush because this is not the one I normally use for this. This is my heavy metal sander brush. This is like a it is still a Sable brush, so it is like the Winsor Newton Series 7 that I was using, but it has a longer tip, so it holds more paint. Good for blending. All right, so this, yeah, it's pretty thin. You can kind of see by my hand, it's kind of spreading out. It's pretty thin. Let me use that to hit all my shadows here. Between your breasts, over a collarbone, her neck, under here, underneath her chin. It's fine if I use a little too much, because I'll come back. And I know this is hard to see, I apologize. Doing this to all the areas that would be shadowed. It'll make it easier and nicer, because then I can kind of blend between my midtone and my shadow. Same back here, the inside of the thigh. I don't know if you can see that. Hey, Duremacom, yes, I do normally stream Wednesday. It's normally Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but that Imperial Night Commission last week kind of got me. Alright, you'll see, it looks a little weird, but that's a shadow I want, and this won't dry nearly as dark. So you'll see that in a bit. Under here, back here. There we go. Pretty good. Alright. I'm going to do one more layer of the... So, what I just did was a really thin Abyssal Blue as my shadow. Now I'm going to do a thin Anthracite Gray, just to make sure to clean up those shadow lines. A little bit, anyway. I don't want to cover them up completely, because otherwise, what's the point? Then I could have just stuck with my my midtone and been fine, but I don't want to do that. That's why you go with a really thin version, because then some of the previous layer shows through, so you're not completely overriding the previous layer. And I'll work on the base again here in a minute once all this stuff dries. And see, I keep coming back to my palette. I constantly need more paint. I'm not applying it too thick. Now you can really see down in there. I can zoom in here, get a little perspective. You can see in there, it's kind of hard with the light the way it is, but you can really see a shadow, and the shadow is in there, especially right here. It's in there because I made it there. I purposely put it in there. And now what I can do, if I don't like it, so right now it looks pretty, like, it looks like a harsh line, right? Like between these two, between these two sides here, it looks like a really harsh line. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that thin anthracite gray, I'm going to paint up to that line. Now it's still wet. Now I'm going to take that thinned, what is it, oh no, so I did a thinned abyssal blue, and now I'm doing that anthracite gray. I kind of blend that line a bit. I can try to show that. There we go. There, that's better. Little smoother. So, doesn't take a lot. Yep, back to King to Death models, Jabberwock. Yeah, I would have done some yesterday, and I'm sorry I didn't. Had a really bad headache yesterday. Would have been just a big grouch. Alright. So far I went from a mid-tone of somber gray, kind of a base coat more than anything, to a shadow of abyssal blue, to anthracite gray. Yeah, caffeine withdrawal. So I'm back on the caffeine again. I'm gonna slowly wean myself off. Alright. So I'm going to kind of mix, as a first highlight, I'm going to kind of mix anthracite gray and graphite 50-50. So I've already got a pool on here. This is already that anthracite gray right here. So I'm going to mix that with this graphite. Or graphite. Yeah, graphite. I want to say graphene. But yeah, tonight, Jabberwock, we're doing a top donator giveaway of this flower witch right here. So she'll go to the top donator tonight. Even if it's only a couple bucks. Kind of my apology to you guys for missing yesterday. Alright. You see I'm mixing the two in the middle? Trying to get a lighter gray, but not so light a gray as to overpower the previous layer. I want it thin, but not too watery, so that's why I'm kind of getting a consistency here. There we go. Yeah, it's actually blending really well. As long as I put it in thin layers. Yeah, I saw the update. I didn't read too much about it though. No, I didn't read too much. I saw some of the some of the characters in detail, but that's all pretty much all I got out of that. Yep, I'm just going back over one more time. Kind of doing this steadily until I build up the color I want. Remember not to forget the other side of her face, otherwise. Oh, that's cool. Like I said, you will never know. I will definitely be painting some of that Fallout stuff here on stream, for sure. I'm a big Fallout fan. If you couldn't tell. Oh, they're making terrain? Awesome. I'm happy about that. So I'm adding just a little bit more gray into this. Just a tad. Yep. Kind of see what I'm doing here. Just brightening it up a little bit every time. Now what you see is going to darken as it dries, so just bear that in mind as you paint. It always looks a little bit brighter than it will. Yep. All I can say is I really want to paint Deathclaws. Deathclaws sound awesome to paint. See if I get a whole Deathclaw pack. I'll use them as flesh hounds for Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar. Hey, Ronnie, thank you very much for that donation. I appreciate that. You're awesome. Not sure, as I am painting up your King of Death figures, I am not sure that you need a third one. But did you mean the paint job of the one I'm giving away, or the one that I'm painting now? Or probably both. We'll see. I don't know how much I'm going to brighten her up. I may stick with something like this. We'll see. I don't want to go too overboard because this dark gray has worked out well so far. So, oh, gotta work on her fingers too. I always forget. I don't want to forget, but I tend to. Yeah, we'll see if the really dark red black works with it. That's the real test. What I might do right now, actually, because kind of between layers, but I also don't want to go too overboard now. Is I think I'll paint everything black. That way I can see a contrast. Because right now the problem is, because I'm working all in grayscale with the skin tone, is I don't want to... I need to know what it'll look like contrasted with everything else. And I've actually been pretty well able to pick around everything. So I'll do that. The base isn't quite dry yet, or I would work on that. But I'm going to paint all the feathers here, the leaves. Paint it, and her hair, I'm going to paint it all black. And then it'll give me an idea of how bright in contrast the gray actually is. Because it might be as bright as I need it to be, but I don't know yet until I do that. So I'm going to switch to a black. Still my favorite black. A lot of people don't like it because it's like a satin, almost semi-gloss. But Abaddon black, it's kind of my go-to. It just has great coverage, and I like it. So I'm going to put some over here by the brown. Again, that texture tool is awesome for getting paint out. Just got to make sure to wipe it off after. But if you don't keep an old rag next to you for painting, you're making a mistake, because it is so helpful for occasional spill, or to do that, or to dry off your paintbrush. A lot of people have like a paper towel, but why when you can just get an old rag? Use it for a couple months and then toss it. Alright, so there's that black. Plenty to work with. There we go. I did thin it because I don't want to get rid of any of this detail. So I may have to do 2 thin coats, to quote Lord Duncan. Really nice guy. So was everybody in the Warhammer community team that was there. Really nice dudes. Yeah, see, it looks a lot brighter now, doesn't it? That gray. Because I painted this black here, it looks a lot brighter. I'm deciding whether or not I want this to be the winter one or the fall one. I would do fall, but I'd rather have like some leaves or something on the base, but the leaves I have aren't quite fall to me. They're kind of like summer, spring. If I had some like reds and oranges and browns, that'd be great, but I have tan and green, which isn't quite it. It depends on how much you want to blend. When you finish the coat, if you want to blend it a little bit, you can mix, but just be careful. The your worst enemy frontal is the paint that is half dry, because what you'll do is it'll look like it's still wet, but it'll be a little bit dry, and then you'll actually start pulling layers of paint off on accident, and that creates pock marks. So if you're not quite sure, then I'd completely wait for it to dry. And you can tell, like, this is very not dry. It's still shiny. And when it catches the light like that, it's still wet. But you'll get a feel after a while whether your paint is completely dry or not. Like I said, if you're using especially really thin coats like I am, because it's a lot of water, it does tend to soak up into the previous layer. And then you can actually start pulling the paint off that you've already attached. So that's, like I said, that's going to be your worst enemy when deciding whether or not it's dry. But that's only if you're blending. If you're just doing layers, just give it a little more time than you think you need. That's all. I have a little USB desk fan that is in front of me over here in the corner. Just a little USB desk fan. That's all you need. Just if you're a little impatient like me, you can always just set it in front of that. Go get a drink or something. Come back. It should be pretty dry. It only takes a minute or two really in front of a fan. But it also depends on how much paint you put on, so you'll get a feel for it after a while. You can see I'm being very careful here because even though I have to, even though I want to get this contrast on here now, it's actually kind of in the way. That's why. Yeah, minutes, not hours. Yeah, it doesn't take that long. Minutes. The only time it takes that long is if you're using enamel paint or some oil-based stuff, or there are a lot of spray paints that take 4 to 6 hours, sometimes even 24 hours to dry. But any acrylic paint doesn't take that long. That's one of the nice things about acrylic. Doesn't take that long. Sorry, Frontal, if my answer was a little more technical than you expected. Like you wanted a distinct time, but I'm thinking of techniques and what paints you're using and how much you've thinned them and all that information you didn't need. Sorry about that. Yeah, it takes a little while for some of these thicker coats to dry. Like the coat I'm doing now is going to take a few minutes. That's why I'm going to try to get it all done, and then I can work on, hopefully the base will be done enough to where I can put a wash on it. Then I can work on something else. It's good to go between different layers, especially if you're focusing on one figure. If you're batch painting, it's a lot easier because then you can do one armor shade on a model, go to the next one. By the time you're done with all 10, then you're ready to go with the next color. But on a single figure like this, you got to choose what you're painting. That way you're not taking forever. Some people use a blow dryer to dry their paint. That works. You just got to make sure it's on a low setting. Especially for resin figures like this, you can really warp the resin. Sometimes that's what you want on resin for building. Hey, Trojan Donkey, welcome back. So I'm actually running out of black. I got to mix some more. Yeah, 1 per day. Well, then don't start any oil painting. Some oils are nice because you can mix them because they stay wet for a long time. But if you're not patient, like you gotta give them a good 24 hours to dry, which sucks. But a lot of people use them for certain weathering techniques and stuff. But I don't use oils. I don't think I ever will. And Ronnie, I can't believe you're actually winning for this giveaway. No. It's sad too because I can see all the angles, so I'm like, oh, I gotta paint this. I don't really, but I want to. Sounds good, Ronnie. Well, you'll get your lanterns anyway. But, see? See what I mean? I just hit a spot right there. Right there. It's annoying. I'll finish up. I can't really affect that right now. So I'll have to wait until it dries and then I can go back over it and fix it. Yeah, you kind of did, Trojan Donkey. I was streaming there for a long time last week. Getting some Imperial Knights done. I got 10 of them done. Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. That is weird. There we go. That is as big as it can get. So, thanks, Charles. Now, I was worried when I put that new thing on there that it would do it, and it did. Here, I can do this too. Oop, not that. There we go. No, yeah, they're there. Just, one of the last broadcasts has them on there. They're really dark. Yeah, this is also why you can see, it's also why I don't like painting black. Because it looks horrible on stream in the recording. It just looks, it's just this pit of despair that soaks up all light. We got like 6 lights on the desk, and yet it doesn't make any difference at all because it's black. However, did you guys see, I saved the link in Facebook. Did you see that black that like absorbs like 99% of light is actually available as a paint now? I'm so psyched for that. I want to do that and like hide, like paint up something and then hide in places. See if people can actually see me. Yeah, I think the VODs should still be up. Otherwise, there should be, sometime this week, there should be a showcase video on YouTube as well. And I have one of them here. I can show you guys later, but I want to focus on painting right now. My shoulder's getting all sore. I think I'm just in the wrong angle. Should have just gone with a straight red, but I really wanted to go with a really, really dark red. Like a black red today. For all this, so I'm going to try that. I could cheat and do my blood red again, but I don't really want to. I want something new. That's the problem is, there are a lot of techniques that are pretty easy to figure out, but, yeah, you can totally see it now. Thank you, Charles. Yeah, that looks so weird, but I look at chat, but I can't look at this stream. Hopefully that'll change a little bit when I change my setup. I should have my PC where the airbrush thing is, and then I should be able to see everything pretty easily because it'll be right in front of me, but we'll see. Yep. Nobody could outbid you before because nobody could see how much you bid. It's set to the top donator right now, so I know it says latest donation, but that's actually the top donator, so. And if you don't know, what he's bidding on is her right here, who's shown in the upper left-hand corner. I altered her base a little bit, but she's the same one. Just gonna make sure I'm getting it all in here. Hitting all the angles. It's a hard thing with black too, is you can't, especially if you already primed black, can't really tell what you're doing. Ah, there we go. Oh yeah, I didn't get it. But I should be getting bits here soon. I filed the paperwork for that. Because I stream so much, they let me get access to bits, but my paperwork's kind of hung up right now. I don't know why. So I emailed them about it. So. And then that should actually make it easier for the next time I apply for the partnership through Twitch. So. Yep. That's okay. I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so she's pretty much done there. Just double checking, I don't want to go over it again. So yeah, all black. So yeah, I have to take time to get that to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go fix the spot I messed up on. And I actually have to start back on the skin again because the paint is actually drying on my palette and I don't want that, so. Alright, I'm all the way up to this light gray, so let's see how that works. Ooh, that's really light. Ooh, whoa. That's really, really light. That's crazy light. Dang it. I didn't want it that light. Nope. Hopefully this will fix it. See, that's more like it. This one's way too light. I'll have to hit it again with the same layer to darken it up again. But she's looking good. Just a slight mistake that is very correctable. I can tone that down easily, so I'm not worried about it. No worries, Chosen Dog. It's okay. It's totally okay. It's a good sign because they're supposed to tell you, what you can improve on, and they literally didn't give me anything to improve on. So that means I'm doing everything right. I just need to stream more and build up that follower base, and so the best thing that we can get is for you guys to keep watching. That's it. As long as you guys keep watching, I'll get it eventually. Alright, I'm hitting the fingers as well. When you go with a lighter paint, it's a good idea. I'll have to put a wash on them, but I want to just pick them out right now. Kind of see what I'm doing. Kind of. What I'll do actually is that lighter paint that didn't quite work out for me, I'm going to grab that without thinning it. I'm going to grab that from the palette. Because the fingers always need to be brighter than other places because there's not really a way to give them shadows like you would normally. So the contrast is what brings out the definition in them. And then you can always do a light wash on them to bring out that detail again. That's why I did that with the fingers. You can kind of see that there. So, do it on the other side as well. Try to. There we go. There we go. It's okay, Chosen Donkey. I do not expect you guys... You guys live your own lives. I do not expect you to be here all the time. Besides, last week was actually really, really boring. I got a lot done, but it was really boring to watch. I'm surprised you guys actually stuck with me through it. It was so boring. There's only so much I can talk about. At least with this painting, I can actually give you contextual things to talk about as I paint. But when I'm painting knights, it's... I paint a color. I paint the color again. Like... It's really bad. Alright. Yeah, no, I wanted kind of like a death theme, so I really wanted a dark like gray-blue scheme. But yeah, she'll probably end up being the winter one, because I'll put snow on her base, I think. It'll show off the blood effects I'm going to do, so that's probably what's going to happen. But her skin is actually kind of done. I don't think I want to go any brighter than it already is. So I'll focus on some high points, but I'm kind of done with it, actually. Yep. I said maybe a little bit. Yeah, I'm actually going to try to paint 3 of these flower witches tonight. We'll see. We'll see if I get there. Yeah, she is kind of like deathly pale blue. Well, that's the thing. I know it's like the death, but it's not like deep winter, Ronnie. So that's what I thought this would be winter. Because yours is already spring. Spring, I would actually almost do the, I don't know. Because I want this one to be fall, I think. Because there's a skull there, too. Then I can put leaves and stuff. And then I'll put this one as summer or spring. Kind of take your pick, either or. So I'll get there. Alright, so this is still drying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the skulls again. So I already did that brown on the skulls. So now I want to go like a pink? No, a yellow. So this Iroko, like a dark yellow. I just put a little on the palette right above the brown over here. That's all I did. I'm going to thin that. I don't need a lot, so I'm just going to thin it. And it's actually okay on this one if it's so thin that it lets color through, because then it'll just look a little off. Like, that's a good thing. Like it's cracked and old, like she just picked it up off the ground. Yeah, you kind of have to have some sort of personality when you stream. It took me a while to get used to the constant talking, because I don't, you know, I work alone. I'll mumble to myself, but I don't need to really say every single thing that pops into my head. But that's kind of what I have to do here on stream. Otherwise, you guys don't know what I'm thinking or my plans for the scheme I'm working on or any of that. So it's tricky. Hard part for me was learning to turn it off when I'm not streaming. Like, I got used to it, and then I couldn't turn it off. Like, I would constantly talk, and I had to learn how to turn it off again. So, yeah. The skulls will be a lot more bone white, but I wanted to kind of show you guys a layering effect for it. And you'll see that here towards the end. Alright, so that's done. So what I'm going to do now, actually, is work on the leaves here. So, actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to paint the ground. It's going to be like a, not sure. You know what? I'm going to use that same brown, actually. Same brown I used before, I'm going to use that down here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. That's what I'm doing. I want to have a little more focus. There we go. So that's all I'm doing. I'm painting brown. I normally would go like a gray, but this time a light brown is fine. I'm going to do a brown wash over all the skulls and everything. So it'll actually work out in the end. Because like 99% of this base is going to be covered in snow. I just need some sort of terrain on the bottom. This isn't quite the brown I wanted, actually. Let me go with like a really dark brown. I don't have the perfect dark brown and scale color, so I'm actually going to go to another Games Workshop color. This one is Rhinox Hide. It's one of my favorites for really, really dark brown. Again, with that Citadel texture tool to take it out of the pot. It's my favorite, unless you put it in little dropper bottles like a lot of people do. But I go through so much paint. I don't know if it's... Eventually I'll probably do it, but it's not really worth it to me right now. So yeah, this is that really dark brown. You'll see it's covering up. It'll cover up completely. Well, that's what I want. I just want to cover up this green because the green is not what I wanted in the first place. I just needed a texture, so. I had that old texture paint that they don't make anymore, so I used that. You can see that brown is so strong, it's literally completely covering the previous layer, even though the previous layer is still wet. It's pretty much completely covering it. Mixing a little bit here and there, which is fine, but... Actually, I just realized, Ronnie, that this is actually the perfect theme. It's like the dead of winter, pun intended. And she's like, she's almost like one of the, what are they called? I want to say frost giant, but that's not what they're called. Dang it, help me out, guys. What are they called from Game of Thrones? I should know this. The next season is starting up this month. Or soon. Very soon. Hey, good morning. Painting some more King of Death. White Walker. Thank you. Yep. Thank you, guys. I knew you guys knew it. It escaped me for some reason. So I'm going back over with this yellow again. Bring out that color in these skulls. Anything I must have crossed out with whatever I was working on. There we go. There. Alright, and while this dries, then I'll be able to work on all the leaves. Although, honestly, I should have realized that, Ronnie. I should have, for this one, I should have done... Yeah, over a month. And I was thinking, yeah, it's probably... Alright, so... I should have realized for, like, the winter theme, I should have done no fronds, but that's okay. Hey, Sailor Jeff. I actually met him in person. Really nice guy. Glad you could join us. Alright, so I need to think of my reds now. So I've done a lot of reds, but I need to go more subtle red this time, so I think I'm going to do this little weird. Oh, here, I'll show you in a second, Remicom. Sorry, I'm getting my thoughts together. I don't normally do this. I'm going to start with like a sunset purple and build up to this deep red, because I want this really dark red. So, the top donator model today is actually going to be a Flower Witch, which is her right here. Right now, Ronnie is winning, but I don't think he's going to stay there because I'm actually pinning up his other Flower Witch models as a commission, so. But top donator gets to walk away with this tonight. I would have, but unfortunately, Jabberwock, I didn't realize, because I actually built all three of them at once. So I built all of them earlier today, all three of them, and didn't realize, like, I kind of knew what I was going for, but I didn't quite realize. So now I'm kicking myself for not realizing, because they're supposed to be seasonal, so winter, summer, spring, fall. But I didn't have enough of a plan, I guess, which is my own fault. Alright, so I'm not doing too much with this, so what I'm using right now, see it on the palette, is this Sunset Purple. I don't want to use too much of it. It should just be able to become a background color. Oh yeah, this is the resin version. The plastic one is much bigger. So you can see I'm kind of just wet brushing this in there. I'm not going to see too much of this, but I don't want it to completely get rid of the black. I just want this as kind of like a subtle transition between the black and the red I'm about to do. So that's why I'm kind of doing this as a kind of like half wet dry brush. It's kind of weird. But it'll give me a better transition than I would have gotten just going straight to the red. So, because I do want to show a lot of the black in here, and this is a good way to do that because this is actually a really thin kind of purplish pink. And when it dries, you'll barely be able to see it. You can kind of almost not see it there. And that'll help with creating a smooth transition. Okay. I don't want to go too overboard here. Oh, no worries, Jabberwock. I just, like I said, I'm realizing all these cool ideas as I've already built and started planning. So, like, dang it. Should have realized that. Oh, well. Ronnie wanted, with all the fronds anyway, so it's okay. There. Hey, Chomp Chomp. We're getting there. Alright. We're actually going to switch. I'm actually going to take a quick little break. Just for a minute. I just got to use the bathroom. But I will be right back. Okay. So she's still drying. But she's getting there. She's actually mostly dry on the fronds. So I will switch over to that red. Which I think I actually took out. Yeah, there it is. It's a deep red from Scale Color. That's going to be the main color. I just wanted kind of something to blend in. 35. Let's making sure to keep all my paints organized. Okay. Should have thinned that again. Just a little. Sorry, Quickster. You'll be alright. Just keep painting. That's all I was never really good at painting. It just takes practice. See, right now I'm trying to follow all the streaks. So I'm not trying to be perfect, because I really want all that black to show. But I am trying to get all the individual little streaks going down here. Because I can brighten this up. This will actually really be dark. But I wanted to brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, that happens sometimes, Quickster. You gotta do it wherever you can't see it. Makes it easier. That's what I would have had to do for some of the Beyond the Wall, for the Beyond the Wall miniature for King to Death, because she was, she's sitting on her butt. Alright, now I gotta focus on everything else. So it's not too difficult, not too complicated at all. I mean, you're just trying to kind of feeling it out where all the color goes. And you're not going to see a lot of it, so it's not too bad. That's why, like I said, that's why I did that purple. Because if I missed anything, that you still see color besides the black. But I really wanted this to be really, really, really dark. So that's kind of the way to achieve it. I will probably brighten it up in certain areas when I'm done here. But for now, this red is going to be really dark. You'll see a really big change when I start painting up the base with all the snow. You'll see a huge difference. That's also a reason I went with more yellowed skulls over a bone. Because otherwise they won't be visible in the snow. So. Yeah, but kind of like a nice bloody red leaf. And I'm not taking my time with this. I'm going very quickly because I want to pick out only certain details. And actually, a good way to cheat to do that is to go quickly, because this will actually dry really dark. So it won't make as big a change in the overall color. And see there, you can see it. Look at that. It's that easy. It looks gorgeous. I still need to add a little bit more color in certain areas. Try to add a highlight in places I want. But actually, it's like I'm learning something doing these painting sessions with you guys. It's crazy. Oh, it's great. And I appreciate everybody who's here. It means a lot. I don't think I could have gotten this far without you guys. Alright, now I gotta do our hair. This one's a little bit trickier because I have to make sure that my brush is not wet. Otherwise it will get into the hair. And I actually have to go kind of follow the hair as it goes. And paint more in because there's not as much area. I actually have to paint more red. That's okay because our hair will show up a little bit better. That's not a bad thing. On the hair, I might actually do like a really blood red, like actually put blood effects into it. Like it's slicked with the blood of all the people she's killed. I haven't decided yet, so I'll just go with this. The nice thing is I can always change it later. It's not set in stone. You know, I just thought of something. I haven't done it, but I want to. I haven't done it, but I really want to. We're going to change this up. We're not going to do it red. We're going to give her really, really white hair. And white hair is actually really hard to do, so I'm going to go back to black, make sure that none of this red is showing, and then I'll show you guys how to do white hair. White hair can be really hard, or it can be really easy depending on how you do it. I'm going to show you the really easy way. And actually, I can, since I'm actually going to go to a white, like a complete white. So I'll show you in a second. So I could actually just forego the black and just paint white here in a second. So in the meantime, because I still have to wait for this to dry now, since I painted it black again, I'm going to go over the skulls one more time. This time with an actual, like, bone color. This birch is actually pretty good. The reason I did it in layers is because I don't want it to be obvious that it's a skull. Or I don't want them to look new, basically. So I'm thinning this birch on my palette because I want to show that yellow that I just painted. Oops, way too much. Okay, got way too much on my brush. There we go. Doesn't help when you lose detail in the things you paint. It's not what you want. You want to gain detail, not lose it. I'll still do a wash on here, so it's not completely important. But looks pretty good. And it's not an even color, which is nice. So when it dries, it'll actually look a little more natural, because that previous yellow layer shows through. And then I'll just do a really thin wash to bring out stuff like the teeth on the skulls. So. There we are. Nice contrast. I like it. Same thing with the ones down here. I don't want to go paint them too much, but just enough to show them off. And again, the white is really thin, so it shows that previous yellow layer. I'm trying to turn the miniature so I hit every angle. There. I guess it means I'm getting good at painting that I can literally... I normally hold my brush like this, but I just switched to this and it feels fine. Alright. Alright, I could use the same white I've been using. I probably will, but not quite as thinned. Because I don't want it a white, I want it an off-white. Because then I'll show you something cool. And that is actually the perfect color. Yep. Where's that birch? There it is. Oh, I thin my paints a lot, Trojan Donkey. It depends on the paint, though. A lot of the skin tones, I really thin. It really just depends on how much... so, you thin your paints for two reasons. One, so you get really even coverage, and without, you know, showing brush strokes. That's the main reason. And two, to show the previous layer. And the second one is really the reason I do it. Because as I layer up skin tones, I need to see the previous layer a little bit to create a smooth transition. But the first reason is why most people do and why I would recommend doing it. The second reason you'll get to when you get better at painting. But like I said, it depends on what you're painting. Like sometimes you can get away with doing see, not quite thin enough. I do not want to see the streaks like that. I want to see complete coverage here. So while I thin this paint, I probably shouldn't have, because I need that. That's what I need right here. And it completely covered. So here's an example of why you don't thin. If you're lazy and you don't want to do 50 million coats over a dark color, you don't thin it. But then again, if you don't thin, then you lose a little detail too. So it's a give and take. You gotta decide for yourself. No, the white is perfect. The white is actually perfect. And I'll show you why it's gonna be perfect. But I gotta actually get a coat on here first. I will have to put a wash in this just so I can see. I don't want to, but I have to. Because I need to see all these. They're like strands wrapped around the other hair strands. And I need to be able to see that to pick it out. So I will have to go over it again. The red still needs a little bit, but... Hello, Panda.
I haven't been able to tune in today. Oh, that looks great.
Yep. That's the first of 3. So I'm getting there. What have you been up to?
I had a big meeting at work, and they are assigning me the biggest project to come through this year so far.
Oh, the biggest project company-wide?
Within the manufacturing facility, yeah. It's one that they've had waiting in the wings for a few years, and they're finally starting to execute on it.
Okay.
And they want me to draw up the plan for the entire thing.
Good job.
So I will be indirectly in charge of thousands of company dollars, and it's kind of amazing.
A little bit frightening, too, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I'm excited. It's a good technical problem that'll be
good.
Fun to work on. You got that camera working again?
Yeah, temporarily, just because I needed to show the palette camera. So.
Thanks, No. Yeah, thanks, guys. I wasn't able to tune in because I just got briefed at a big meeting.
Gotcha.
And also, we got invited to do stuff on May 6th with Andrew and Vanessa, possibly.
Ooh, okay. Cool.
If you're up for that. I
Sure.
suggested Guardians. I hope you don't mind.
No, I don't mind. Let's go see Guardians. Hopefully I don't flake out like last time.
Hey, Pride, never want to sell a whole army again. Is that adequate?
Oh, why not, Pride? Did you sell your last one and now you want it? You wish you didn't? Like, context, Pride. We need context. Yeah, this paint looks horrible. I promise you it won't. Once I'm done with it. It's just really thick because I have to do it over black.
She reminds me of Enchantress.
Enchantress. Oh yeah, I gotcha. Took me a little while.
I'm sure it sucks, Pride. Sorry for giggling. I have to help inventory an industrial facility, so... Not to mention all of Demonican's stock every once in a while.
What?
Paints.
That was one thing that does not qualify you.
Legos. No.
So what are your plans for tonight?
I'm gonna watch a little Big Bang. I'm gonna eat a little dinner. Then I'm gonna go to the gym and creep on your stream some more. And then I'm gonna get started on Pride's project.
Okay. Because it's Wednesday. We could go to skee ball.
We could.
We could.
Do you have the budget for that? Or
I got the. We can't get any food, but I got the. I paid for the thing. Remember?
Okay. I guess I'll be doing that instead of gym, and so Pride's project gets to move up. But I am gonna eat and watch Big Bang still.
That's fine. Do your thing, Panda. Yeah, she's getting there. It's very bright. It won't be so bright in a minute. That contrast is crazy. It's fine on the skulls because it's a small thing, but that hair, ooh.
Okay, I'm gonna actually go and.
Panda's being a creeper.
Well, I didn't get to see the start of your stream. You started it early, and I was so excited. And then I got the meeting, and then I was like, "Aw!" But now I'm excited again. So.
It is on Twitch, so you can watch it and not creep over my shoulder.
Yeah, but I get this awesome perspective, and it's engaging all of the senses. And I can see you, I can hear you, I can poke you and feel you and do stuff. I'm gonna leave you alone now. Bye. I love you very much.
Panda's being a creep.
Yeah. Oh, and actually, did Dad drop stuff off?
Huh?
Did Dad drop stuff off?
No, I didn't know he was supposed to.
Okay.
Why?
He said he was going to.
Oh, okay. Must be later, because I didn't see him.
No, that'd probably be tomorrow then. Figure it out.
Okay, I got my doctor's appointment tomorrow morning, so...
Well, I'll be at his facility tomorrow.
Hey, Dreamicom, thank you so much. So you're definitely winning. She's a really nice mini. It's the exact same type that I'm painting right now. So. I messed up a little bit, but I can fix it. There's actually a little spot right here on the shoulder that isn't quite connected right, but fortunately it was such a mistake that it's like a really thin strand. You can kind of, I don't know if you can kind of see it there. It looks like just a really thin strand of hair. So it's actually not so hard a thing to fix. There we go. Awesome. Getting there. Okay. Trying to hit all the angles here with this hair. This coat has to be really nice because all the detail that I'm going to bring out in a minute when it's dry is going to be that much easier if I've got a really nice base coat on this hair. It's a pity that I didn't realize that I wanted to go with white hair before I started. Otherwise it would have been a lot easier. There she is. No, that's good to hear, Doramacom. I'm glad you are learning some stuff. I will get to the armor kits eventually, so then you'll have some more hands-on, like, direct knowledge of how to paint the armor kits, so. Yeah, it looks so weird. And it will until I get it done. Nice thing is it is drying pretty quick, so that'll help. Yeah, his hair's just taking forever because I'm going over black. I'm try to hit every strand and then I'll let it dry. And then I'll go back over and make sure I hit everything again. Just takes time. I feel like I've done blue eyes too many times on these minis, but if we're going with the whole, Dead of Winter White Walker idea, I think she needs blue eyes, so I'm going to do that here in a minute. I gotta paint her face mask and her all over garments as well, so get that done. And there, good enough for now. It's not perfect, but it'll get there. The reason it's not perfect, there's stuff like this flower here that I'll have to hit. I'll probably do those in red. But for now, I'm going to switch to a silver or a steel. Yeah, steel from Vallejo Model Air. I've used this a lot. The reason I'm using it here is because it's going to show up really nice and bright against that dark skin. So, because it's such a detailed piece, I'm going to work with my Winsor Newton Series 7 000 here. That way I have perfect control over what I'm painting. Like, right around here, there are these actual details that are hard to pick out otherwise. Just like that. I could go with a white on that as well, but I think a white is too much. That's why a silver will show up nicely against your skin. It doesn't overpower anything. And I don't need to do anything to it just to make it pop, so. Cool. So that part is done. Now I gotta do her. I'm actually gonna do. She's got these sandals on. I'm gonna do those really quick. There. There, you can see that already. Actually, I'm going to probably build up quite a lot of snow around her feet, so I'm not too worried about this, but just in case I don't, I want to get it as best I can. There we go. Cool. Now she has this gem thing right here. And she has another one right between, not really between her breasts, but it's like a necklace that I have to grab. There we go. Can't wait to start on her hair, but I gotta wait for that paint to dry. She's got the same thing around her arms, so I have to hit that also. There we go. Make sure to go and hit every angle I can. There. There we go. Now I gotta do her other arm here. And then I have her face plate to do as well. Her face mask. And her nose is actually part of the mask. Which is interesting. There, you can see that. See her face now. I have to hit the eyes with something, but I'll do that a little later. There. No, it won't, Ronnie, I promise. It'll make it look better. My snow effects are actually really awesome. So, it'll make it look better, I promise. Alright, I'm going to do a little more red on the fronds here, just to bring out that color a bit. So I'm going to go up a stage to this blood red. It's pretty bright, but not too bright, which is nice. And I'm going to be very detailed with it too, so I'm actually going to thin it, and then I'm going to use my smaller brush to work with it. There we go. Alright, so I want the middle part here. I just want the edges of things. Like that. You can see as it dries, it's not that bright. Doing some on the back, but not nearly as much as on the front, because you're not really going to see this so much. So just a little bit. On the very back, though, I want to get a bunch. But again, not as detailed as the front. Just bringing out the detail. There we go. Yeah, there's yeah, 78 is about right, Jabberwock. Yeah, the scale colors are the ones I'm using. I'm not using the fantasy ones. The fantasy ones are a lot brighter. This one has a lot more subtle colors. I kind of like that. It's a good palette for King of Death. Alright, so it's actually pretty dry, the hair. So I'm actually going to do what I'd normally do, which is a thick sepia wash, but I'm going to really thin it, because all I'm using it for now is detail. And actually, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I don't normally do this, but I'm going to do a thin down black wash. Because I'm only using it to bring out detail, like I said. So I've got Nuln Oil. It's a good Games Workshop wash. I'm gonna put a little on the palette and I'm gonna really thin it. Getting a good dollop on here, then I'm gonna get a bunch of water to thin that. There we go. I don't know how much this will soak in, so I'm actually gonna get more on the palette than planned. Just in case. There we go. Like I said, this is just to bring out detail. Nope. 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 It's too impatient. There's a spot I didn't see. Alright, gotta let it dry. But you can see it's bringing out detail, which is a good thing. That's what I want. Nice, yeah, hopefully, Sam. Hopefully that works out for you. Alright, now that I'm waiting for that to dry, what I'm going to do, actually... I don't normally like to do this. I like to finish up each miniature, but... No, you know what? While I'm waiting for that, I was going to switch to another one, but, you know, while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to do a quick little thing for you guys. I'm going to pause really quick, and then I'm going to do... grab out some supplies and show you guys how to do my snow bases. So give me a second. Okay, so she should be dry. At least her hair. So what I'm going to do is... a little weird. I'm going to take a really, really light gray, like this blue gray. This Arctic blue. It's actually really nice. This is actually lighter than the color I used. I'm going to put a little bit of that out on my palette. And I'm going to get some Lamian Medium, which is a Games Workshop technical paint. And I'm going to mix that into that paint and create like a really odd wash. So here's my Lamian Medium. I'm actually going to need my wash brush for this because I need more medium than anything. So this is a Games Workshop shade brush. So I'm using more of the medium, way more than the color I'm adding. I still want enough for a decent color, but you'll be able to see here in a second what I'm trying to do. So there we go. I'm adding like a white wash to this off-white color. And then when it dries, it's actually going to look really unique. It's okay that a little bit of that black is showing, because that'll give it just a little bit of definition where it didn't have much before. I didn't quite mix enough of this, so I'm gonna make some more. Oops. Apparently I needed clean water for that. So as I mixed the medium, there was a little bit of dirty water in here. Well, if the plastic one turns out really good, Pride, I could probably trade you. The reason I'm doing this whitewash is not only to brighten it up, but to make it look like her hair is like frosted. And the nice thing is I also have some of that snow left over, the snow effect, so if I wanted to, once all is said and done, I can add it to her hair like she's got some in her hair. Just be careful when you're doing this layer because you can touch the skin and mess up the skin because this is pretty glossy. Yes, Panda?
Oh, I've been doing Pride's thing, and so I haven't had the chance to watch, and I heard you talking, and it's like, oh, that sounds cool, I should go see.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's a pretty easy technique. It's just that Lamian medium. You can mix it with any paint. For a wash that's not quite a wash, this is actually really cool. Now it looks, like I said, it looks frosted. And just a little bit gray, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
I'm trying to make it so it doesn't pool too much. But a little bit in the front of her hair is fine. Alright, now I'm going to let that dry. And then we'll come back to that in just a minute. But in the meantime, I'm going to grab something else. I've got something for her eyes also. Normally I'm not a big fan of this, but it's worked out well so far. I'm actually going to do this Soulstone Blue. It's another GW Technical paint. And the Mixture Pride is actually this Arctic Blue and Lamian Medium. So like 90% this, 10% that. And that's what I used. But right now, on her eyes, I'm doing that Soulstone Blue I just showed. And you can see her eyes are actually so... Oh, dang. This has been out of focus this whole time. There we go. So, this is actually Soulstone Blue, and you can see her eyes are already kind of silver. But with a dark edge, so this will actually bring out that color. So it'll look really haunted. There. Like a really nice shiny blue. There. Not too bright, not too dark. Alright, now I'll give that a couple of minutes to dry. And we'll be right back. Alright, so you can see here she's actually mostly dry. Right now I'm going to take a really bright white and hit highlights. And then I'll come in with a red and hit, she's got a little flower here and some other stuff that I want to make sure to hit. So, I'll actually probably do the red first because it's really obvious. So, this flower I'm hitting now. Especially compared to the white, the red is going to show up really nicely. That's actually what I want. Because it'll help me pick out details in her hair. There's another little flower right here. Right now the color is good, but the lack of detail is a bit much. So, and then there are these vines all over. When I see them, I'll pick them out in red. I can only do so much because it's still drying. And it does look really, really bright, and that's what I want, actually. Yeah, the Flower Witch is actually my favorite model out of everything Keen to Death does. It's just because it's been that way for forever. I was really annoyed when I wasn't quite into Keen to Death as much as I wanted to be. Or maybe I've just lost, pace with it, or I wasn't keeping track of the website or something. I don't know. But I missed this release originally, and it really bugged me. Alright, only 20 minutes. Duremacom is definitely it looks like he's going to win. Unless somebody comes in with a crazy donation right at the end. It's going to be the cheapest Flower Witch ever.
Well, you never know. We've had people snipe before.
That's true. I'm sure Duremacom's hoping that nobody does. I can't blame him. Don't hate the Mini based on the build. Just use me as an example of what either to do or not to do, depending on your perspective. What?
When are we going to do your Viking braid?
Huh?
Your Mohawk braid? Your Viking braid? Your Viking Mohawk?
I don't know. I was gonna do the whole Carriage on Overlords thing, but it kind of flopped because I didn't get anything done. Because even the day that we wanted to do it, we got back home and there were 50 million things to do. So.
Do you have time this Saturday morning that we could give it a go?
Probably not, because I'll have to upload and then go to Games Workshop, so probably not.
Sunday?
I honestly don't know, Panda. Sorry.
Oh, okay. It's just that you got your 25 Patreons and it sounded like fun.
When I can barely hear you, by the way.
It's just that you got your 25 Patreons and it sounded like fun.
Yeah. Yes, very true. But we'll see. I'm really standing out of frame here, aren't I? Whoops. Yeah, she looks really good from the front. When I add some white, it's really going to help. Do you want to not go tonight?
No, I'm cool with going.
It's up to you.
We need to arm the panda.
We do. I don't have anything big enough, though. Trying to see if I missed any flowers here. See if I have a really dark gray. There we go. That anthracite gray that I was using before, I'm going to use that. Oh, I'm sorry, Pride. Yeah, that's always... I built this miniature and Pride wanted to get her resin one painted, but the guy who she was going to go get it painted from said never again. That it was that bad to paint. So that anthracite gray is what I'm using right now to hit all the hands that are in her hair. Give them a little more pop. There aren't too many in her hair, but I want to hit them at least. And anything like a white or an off-white wouldn't quite match because her hair is so bright now. What's really going to make the difference, though, in the hair is when I put that white highlight in. That pure white highlight. Nope, there's a hand right here, and I couldn't even see it. Reaching out right from here. Yep, she's getting there. Just wait until I get that white highlight. I'm about to do it. That's one of my favorite whites just because of how easy it goes on. It's not too thick, which is good because then you can, for highlights and stuff, you can usually just apply it straight without giving it without thinning it. Sorry. This is Game Color Dead White. It's one of my favorite whites. Alright, let's do this. So I gotta focus on certain points, like right here. Just like that. And I want to make sure to focus on that specifically in kind of like a Cruella de Vil style highlight. Very specific. And on the points, you want to hit all the points. Because those will catch the light nicely. Give it a nice focus point. But you don't want to make the points too light. Just enough to make a little differentiation there. There, see? Oh, missed a flower. Missed a flower and a few strands. Especially strands around this piece right here. I don't want to go too overboard with the white. It's just an accent color. There we go. Yeah, here, Duramicom. You gotta ask twice. That's okay. Here. It is Game Color Dead White. It's a really nice white. Hitting the tips here, too. Alright. Almost done. So I'm going to do just a little more red accent color because I missed this little flower here. It's right by her hair. And then I missed a lot of these strands back here. It's actually a pretty bright white, actually. Here, let me see. Kind of see. But then again, the contrast is there, too, so... It's a pretty bright white, though. Alright, there we go. Let me take a little bit of this. I think this is a little too thick, so I'm going to go like that. And then go like that. I'm using that base coat again to try to break that up a little bit. But there we go. All done. Pretty cool. I love the contrasting colors. And the snow turned out great. It's already hard, actually, which is nice. There we go. She's all done. And I've got 10 minutes to spare. So, I'll just kind of hang out with you guys, and I'll work on maybe some building. But we got another 10 minutes until the stream is over, and I give away the Flower Witch. So, yeah, I love the deep red. The deep red is nice.